One day, after a conversation with my friend Eli, I drew a 2 by 2 matrix that sought to understand the relationship between factors that seem to be related but different, specifically domination in relation to partnership, scarcity in relation to abundance. But like any model, I knew it was wrong. And so after I walked by it a bunch of times on a giant sticky in my hall and wondered what would make it more right, I found myself wanting to go over the back of it or around the side and come at it from a more three-dimensional angle. And I wondered, well, what would it look like if those lines reached out to one another behind that sticky? Which immediately had me leave the 2 dimensions of paper and chalk and go into the 3 dimensions, or even, I'm going to call it 4 dimensions because there's also sound involved, and picked up my hand cards and started to play with wool. And I created the colors just using the primary colors from the painter's palette and aimed for a kind of a magenta and green. Magenta, even though magenta, you could say it's sitting in the scarcity control quadrant, it's also a nod to the mage, or that notion of the magi, a little bit of magic, imagination, and imaginal notions built in, because the color choice is somewhat arbitrary and also not necessarily good or bad, right or wrong. There are times when control and scarcity can be very powerful positive forces, and likewise when abundance and partnership or collaboration can be problematic or even just deep dark trouble. Anyway, I put the fleece onto the tennis balls with beans and peas and lentils inside. Had fun needle felting and creating a set of diagrams in 3 dimensions, or felted balls that show what happens when you go over the back, around the side, underneath and around a 2 by 2 diagram that's trying to articulate something a little more complicated than a flat surface will allow. And I'm not sure what it tells me other than that those things are in relation and constantly dynamic and moving around in a bit of a swirl, a little bit like life.